Right, so Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. My name is Sister Keisha Muhammad, and I am a first grade teacher at Mr. A. Ali University. I have been teaching for over 25 years, and my favorite subject to teach is grammar.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sister Valinda Muhammad, and like Sister Keisha, I'm a first grade teacher at Mr. A. Ali University. Some of my favorite subjects to teach are phonics, reading, and theological studies.
Right, so it is an honor to be here today and to present to you curriculum development based on the Supreme Wisdom Lessons by Master Farrakhan Muhammad. We recently participated in a professional development course at the Supreme Wisdom Educational Center titled Supreme Wisdom Curriculum Orientation, Transitioning to the New Educational Paradigm. In this course, we were educated on how the Supreme Wisdom Lessons are a framework for the new educational paradigm. Next slide, please. So in an article titled Family from the Perspective of Children, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan states, each child is gifted from the Creator with a very special gift that is unique to itself. But these gifts must be discovered, must be cultivated, must be exploited for the good of the individual, the family, and the nation. To begin, we know that you know that a curriculum is a course map outlining outcome goals for learning, and the purpose is to enable students to be successful learners. But let's face it, this is not what we are seeing today and haven't for a very long time. Next slide, please. The objective or the desired outcome is not being achieved, hence the reason we are here today. Surely all curriculum is not the same, and despite our best efforts as teachers to educate the students as best as we can, what's at the root of the curriculum does not stimulate to the fullest extent. Now, I'd like you to keep an open mind and listen closely as I share a few things that will correlate with the statements that I just made. Next slide, please. The information that you see here on this slide is taken from the website, National School Boards Association's website. It shows a graph of assessments of most students taken among 8th grade students from years 2015 to 2019. As you can see, Black students remain significantly behind. Also, from the same website is an annual report entitled The Condition of Education 2020. It painted an unsettling national picture of the current state of Black students. It states that 45% of Black students attend high poverty schools. The disproportion between Black students and Black teachers has not been improved from here, 2015. It also states that the achievement gap between white and Black students had not been closed. Average scores in reading and math are still lower than that of white students. The school dropout rate among Black students remains high. This article ends with a statement that proves true. It states, in brief, this annual report mandated by the U.S. Congress suggests that changing the condition of education for Black students need true commitment of every policymaker, school leader, and educator. This is the reason that we are here today, and we would like to propose to you that there is a solution to issues in education plaguing Black students today. Next slide. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan states, he who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activity.
Okay. The dumbing down effect, how it has affected students. Okay, but before we begin, before we present the solution, we'll begin with a brief history of the public school system. The challenges you are facing today are a result of the American compulsory school system. How many of you have heard of the American compulsory school system? Raise your hand if you have. Yes, okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so the dumbing down effect and how it has affected our students. The American compulsory school system is derived from the method of education that was used in Prussia, which was a historically prominent German state that originated in 1525. In the 1830s, Horace Mann, also known as the father of public education, traveled to Prussia to visit its schools and research its educational system. While there, Mann learned their method of schooling, which involved removing free thought from students. When he returned, Mann established a public school and implemented the same method of teaching. By 1846, school was to be free, yet mandatory for all children between the ages of 5 to 13 or 14 years of age. During these 8 years of school, students would learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, but would also be taught duty, discipline, respect for authority, and the ability to follow directions. Contrary to what most believe, these things were not taught to develop character in students, but to train their minds to memorize and accept whatever was taught to them. In other words, their ability to think for themselves was gradually taken away. Instead of being free-thinking, strong-willed, and driven students with a desire to master what they have learned, and driven students with a desire to master what they have learned and produce something for themselves. Okay, so what the current curriculum has caused is a disinterest in the students, and you can see this in the photos. This is a picture, let's say, of the old world system. And these are pictures, as you can see, in color, so they're current. But if you look at the faces of the students in each time period, it's the same. There's a lack of interest, they're bored, and they don't seem to have their minds working. Okay, so as you can see from the statistics read earlier, the current state of education in America is constantly declining. This dumbing down effect has caused students to lack interest in what their teachers are teaching them. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells us that the American people have developed hate for their own educational system. Like yesterday, students are rebelling because they no longer want guidance from an old world. And in this clip from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he's going to continue to describe or elaborate on the dumbing down effect. And this is from the Education Challenge, Education and Land, the Blueprint for a New World.
Things that should be going on in the classroom. Their minds, see, the reason we lose them, they're agitated. You think they're a discipline problem. No, not you. I mean, we. No, I know, I'm saying, you know, we got these crazy acting children, right? But why? Why are they that way? What have we done to attract their minds? And if this is like, oh, this is so uninteresting. But when you see any student, how many of you all in here looked in the mirror before you came out? You did? Well, you know how you look, don't you? What you look in the mirror for? You looked in the mirror because you wanted to make sure that you look like you thought you should look. Then you could fix this and fix that. Why? You're not narcissistic, but you should love yourself enough to want to take pride in the way you look. Well, aren't you interested in the face in the mirror? Otherwise, why would you brush your teeth? You know it didn't smell good. And I don't want to go to class with bad breath. Well, if you make the students see themselves in the learning process, they'll always be interested in learning because they're curious about themselves. And when you can relate all of this to the self, then you got that student's mind. And you do not need Ritalin. You don't need these disciplines of not a lot of, unnecessary spanking, because that doesn't necessarily get children to do what you want them to do. You want them to do it because it's right to do it and it's good for them to do it, but it's like somebody when you go to get a car and they're trying to sell you what you don't even want. But after a while, you buy it. Say, how did I get twisted around like that? The things that should be going on in the classroom. They're mine.
Okay, so as you can see in the video, the minister was talking about a lot of times with our students, when we see them disengaged or unengaged in the class, we want to attribute it to, oh, bad behavior. You know, they don't know how to act. They're disruptive, all of those things. But like he said, if they don't see themselves in the curriculum, if they can't relate to what's being taught, they're not going to have interest. So here in this quote, he says from Torchlight for America, chapter 4, proper education, knowledge feeds the development of the human being so that the person can grow and evolve into the vine and become one with the creator. Okay, so the question is asked, well, what is the solution? So like, why are we here? What's the solution? How can we solve the issues that you are faced with today? And the answer would be the Supreme Wisdom Lessons. The Supreme Wisdom Lessons are mathematical lessons that were given to us by Master Farrakhan Muhammad, God in person. They are a series of questions asked by Master Farrakhan Muhammad and answered by his student, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They are rooted in astronomy and teach the students the knowledge of everything in the universe. Using the method of questions and answers that Master Farrakhan Muhammad used with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to teach students encourages them to critically think about what they are learning. It allows us as educators to engage our students in discussion and inspires them to want to learn more. You may know this method as the Socratic method.
Okay, so as it has been stated, we need a new educational model, and that model is the Supreme Wisdom Lessons given to us by Master Farrakhan Muhammad, the Supreme One, God in person, who is the master of master teachers. Contained in this small book, in terms of pages and not content, are courses of study in astronomy, physics, engineering, geography, mathematics, language arts, and many, many more, which can be taught to babies and beyond. It is a foundational teaching written in mathematical language where learning outcomes extend far beyond expectations. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan states, what we have been given is a basis for our march toward perfection, and it starts with knowledge that removes impediments to our growth and development. This sacred text guides us into a discipline and a study to return us to our original position we once held in the universe. We are the direct descendants of God, and our children need to know that. When the students know this, it brings about a transformation. It taps into a power within and brings about a confidence that they can master whatever they put their minds to. These courses of study in the Supreme Wisdom Lessons that allows the student to know God, know self, and the enemy of God and self is one that prepares the student to embark on a journey to what Allah God desires for us to be, and that is perfect rulers. We are created masters. We have to approach everything we do as masters of it. As it states in the Bible, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. Students need to operate on that level, on that elevated state of mind. That's why the Supreme Wisdom Lessons are a universal curriculum, because it inculcates the student with the mind of a God. This has never been taught before, so we can see how this may seem a little far-fetched, but hear us out. This is a whole new school of thought taught to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to raise us from ignorance and ignominy into excellence. Once a child experiences being taught from a teaching like this, you will see the new mind that is being produced in that child. Speaking to the teachers, educators, and scholars in Study Guide 21, the Education Challenge, a new educational paradigm for the 21st century, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, you are really looking for the solution to the problem of education, but the solution is not in the system that nurtured you. It is a man. And we know that man, this is from Sister Valinda and I at A. Ali University, that man is Master Farrakhan Muhammad. The minister also says that God is a true educator and none of us can afford to leave him out. So, quote by Mother Tynetta, Sister Belinda.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so in the 10th system, the brain, Mother Tynetta Muhammad states, the body of knowledge contained in the supreme wisdom lessons given to us to study by Master Farrakhan Muhammad through his chosen servant, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, introduces us to an entire new school of thought, which is a foundation for a whole new world.
The Supreme Wisdom Curriculum, what is it? What is the purpose? What are the objectives? The Supreme Wisdom Curriculum. Within the Supreme Wisdom lessons, there's a framework titled The Original Rules of Instruction to the Laborers. Laborers in this case would be administrators and teachers. The Original Rules of Instruction is the curriculum framework of the Supreme Wisdom Curriculum, which outlines what content is to be learned in terms of clear, definable standards of what the student should know and be able to do. Supreme Wisdom Educational Center, Supreme Wisdom Curriculum Orientation Course, Week 6, Slide 16. The purpose of the Supreme Wisdom Curriculum is to develop a new mind in students, a mind that reflects the mind of God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad on page 123 of Our Savior Has Arrived says, first, he makes a new mind for us and a new way of thinking. He teaches us a different education, one that we have never had before. He gives us an education on the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of gods, not of prophets, but of the gods of prophets of the past. He builds our minds according to the way gods think and not the way of thinking servants or prophets. A new mind is needed in order to bring in a new reality. Unlike current curriculum, which we discussed earlier, which was designed for students to be producers for others, the objective of the Supreme Wisdom Curriculum is to teach students the true knowledge of God and the true knowledge of themselves. It was developed to teach students how to discover and fulfill their purpose. Once this happens, students are then inspired to embark on the journey. And here you can see our sister Keisha engaging her students, and they're inspired, they're excited. We are taught that by the age of 6, our students should be able to tell us what they are going to do. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, at that point, that's when we know that we are teaching, because our minds should be blown away by what they tell us they are going to do with their lives by the age of 6. And this is a quote from the Education Challenge, a new educational paradigm for the 21st century by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You have to tell the children who they are. Give them God as the example. If God is the example, what an excellent example.
All right, how do we do this? What is the role of the teacher? So I'd like for you to please turn your attention to this brief clip by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, meeting the Educational Challenge, August 6, 2011.
So, when we come to the great Mahdi, he says student enrollment rules of Islam. Ooh, a rule is a guiding principle that's going to guide your study, set your mind for what you're about to learn. And the first question that he asks, who is the original man? Now let's think about what Master Farrakhan Muhammad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to teach us. He didn't come to just enroll you in a class and you come and sit and listen and go back home and do the same old stupid things you've been doing all your life. No. He came to give us the mind of the originator. So he asked, who is the original man? Why would he ask you that? What did he have in mind? He wanted you to understand in this classroom that you are a student of the originator, and you are a direct descendant of the originator. You got to set the student's mind. Who am I? Well, the Bible tells you he made man in his own image and after his own likeness. Well, he made you into a God. He made you to become a God. He made you to master the circumstances of your life. But no one can master the circumstances of their lives until they have the mind and the spirit of a master. You don't wait till they get to be 90 to tell them that they're a master. From the time they're born into the world, you must make them to see that they are offspring of the originator. Well, that's interesting. You mean I, little old me, is the offspring of the originator? Well, if you were the son of the heavyweight champion of the world, wouldn't you feel like you walk around flexing? I can whoop anybody because my daddy is the heavyweight. Well, hell, that's nothing. If you're a direct descendant of the originator of the heavens and the earth, is there anything that you cannot accomplish? And just think with me. I'm from God. I'm created in his own image and after his likeness. That sets the mind of the student. That's why they don't teach God in school. See, they give you this kind of, excuse me, crappy education that makes you extol the value of white accomplishment in a universe that their accomplishment is nothing in comparison to what the originator originated for us to study and master. So,
Okay. So here are a few examples of how to implement this in the classroom, you know, based off of what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said. He said, don't wait until they turn 90 to teach them who they are. Start when they are babies, you know, from the time that they are born. So this is the students displaying. This is from one of my prior classes. And we were talking about, as you can see, student enrollment question and answer number 1, who is the original man? And so what I did was, as you can see, I made a chart, and to help them to see themselves, we used handprints of different shades of melanated people. And it said, who is the original man? And then I made a poster board with the answer for them so that they would have some sort of visual with their question and answer. And we actually, after that, they made their own poster boards, smaller ones, but I didn't have the pictures. And then later in that week with the assignment, they were able to use clay and make their own original people. And we used the foam balls to make the planets and things like that, just to see how well they understood the lesson and to give them things that they can actually use their hands. Because at this age group, I believe this was like a pre-K class. So we gave assignments to go with the lesson and see how they would carry it out. And then this is another example when it's important for students to see themselves in their lessons, as the minister said. When students see themselves in what they are being taught, they will reflect the God within. So every morning we had what we call morning folders. And as you can see here, this is a young brother by the name of Jabril. And there was a sister who makes name cards. And so we put them inside of their morning binder so that every day they would see themselves instead of going, I could have went to the teacher supply store and purchased owls, let's say, which I've done it in the past, I'll be honest. But when I saw these, I'm like, oh my goodness. So we had these and we put their names on it. So every day the young brothers would see themselves, and the sisters had, it was a little sister on the pages and she had a tam on. So they saw reflections of themselves every morning. And then here is a young brother that what we did was for Savior's Day one year, I had them make hats. And on the hat, it says, my name is W.F. Muhammad. And it's like them showing that they have learned who the God is and that they are God's, and now they are reflecting it in honor of his birth anniversary. And we always would have them color, and we tell them you can color any colors you want. Choose, is your artwork, is your creativity. Let it come out. So these are just a few examples of how to implement what the minister said in your classrooms.
All right, so resources, time and space, and how we use them. So the resources that would be used would be our Supreme Wisdom lessons, of course. And here you see English lesson C1 created by the lovely Sister Valinda Muhammad. Also, we would use, books and videos of the minister and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and interactive games. So here you see Sister Valinda in small group instruction with the lessons, teaching the children their English lesson C1.
And can I just say real quick, the book that I'm holding is Sister Jasmine's from Baby Gods. This is her English lesson C1 book. We would use it every day in class with the children when we were in person. So I had to give her that shout out. Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's going, I'm sorry. How do I stop that? Okay.
So as you can see here, selection and organization of lessons, we put together a brief lesson plan, first grade class at Mr. A. Ali University. This is a Unit 1 lesson spanning it's about a week's lesson plan. And, we have continuity for reinforcement. The lessons are arranged in order where they will be able to, explore each topic. So Sister Valinda will go into a little more about this lesson plan.
Okay, so for example, sequencing the lessons in an appropriate order, and so that they can get reinforcement throughout the week. So if you look here, every morning we start with prayer, because we have to make Allah the center of everything that we do. As we know, they have removed God from the public school system. And as a result, we're here today. So we start with prayer, pledge, we drill. Drilling instills in the children discipline, and it lines their mind up with hearing that one command, which in essence is teaching them how to listen to the voice of God, outwardly and inwardly. When they hear the DI calling the commands, it's lining their minds up. We're preparing them to walk into their Godship. And that also will result in the classroom of having a more structured environment. And then we go into English lesson number C1, handwriting, 3 days out of the week. And during handwriting, we like to play classical music. And of course, it's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Beethoven Concerto. And every day it continues for about 20 minutes. So we start where he starts, and believe it or not, when they are listening to the minister play, they actually wake up. because a lot of times in the morning they're tired. So you may think, well, if I put on classical music, isn't it going to make them even more sleepy? Isn't it going to, because it's so relaxing, but the energy that comes through, they literally, like, you see them liven up and they start writing, and they're doing their handwriting, which a lot of times handwriting can be boring. So we figured, what better way to make it fun, right? Interesting, open their minds up, but enhance their focus at the same time, is through allowing them to listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So that's something that we actually do every day in class for handwriting. And then if you scroll down on Monday, we have the theological studies, who is God? And here we'll start with the creator and how did he create himself? And all of this will be based off of student enrollment question and answer number 1, who is the original man? And then if we go over to Wednesday, it's who is God, the supreme being, and what makes him supreme? In other words, Master Fard Muhammad. And then if you go over to Friday, who is God? And we're asking the children, who are you? And what is your relationship to him? So that's the, I'm going to say the sequence there of the teaching style. If you had to put everything in 1 week, we have phonics and spelling, and we pulled the long vowels A, O, and U because in who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic, that's the long vowel A, Black man, the maker, the owner, long O, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, long U, vowel team EA because of cream, and then we have the silent E with maker. No, is it maker? I believe so. I don't have it in front of me. So these are just examples of ways that you can implement the lesson, well, take from the lessons and build subject matter. Reading, triple darkness, because we're talking about the creator, the supreme being, and then the students themselves. So we know, or we've been taught that everything started, Allah created himself out of triple darkness. So you want to try to find reading materials, everything that correlates, that goes together so that they're receiving the full scope of the lesson on every level. Geography, planet Earth, how was it made? And then what is it made of? And that's important because we know that the same material that's in us is within the earth. So it's important to make that connection for the children. That also can go into science, mathematical, language arts. Learned that term here. So, Sister Keisha, you want to explain this part, or?
Yes, ma'am. For the mathematical language arts, we wanted to start with a question because we were given a question and we're taught to question. So we would start with question words. Who is God? Why was he hidden? How did he create himself? And if you go over to Thursday, it would be, what did he come to do? Where did he come from? When did he come? So we would use the question words. We also have our mathematical theology, a term that we learned in our course, and that we would start with addition word problems because we were given problems in the problem book. And then, of course, we have physical education. We have coding because we know that our lessons are coded with mathematical language. And then we would end our day with announcements and prayer. So that is a sample lesson of what we would do with just who is the original man. Praise be to Allah. And so now, go ahead, Sister Valinda. Did I forget something?
I was going to mention that Allah gives us value. We put that with the addition. We put that with the addition because, again, reinforcing and reminding the students that Allah created you and he gives you value. We will be nothing. We wouldn't even exist without the God. So to connect it on every level for them to see it. If you're adding, if your numbers are increasing. So that's what Allah does for us. He gives us value. So at the end of the week, we do an assessment with the students, and we would like for you all to take a sample assessment if you're willing to participate.
So do we have full participation, Sister Deborah, Sister Sylvia, and Sister Loretta? All right, praise
Yes,
be to God.
ma'am.
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
Sister Belinda, Sister Deborah, you are team 1. Sister Sylvia, you are team 2. And Sister Loretta, you are team 3.
Okay, it's called a bamboozle game. We do this a lot of times with the children because all assessments don't have to be written, so this assessment, who is the original man? Team 3.
All right, Sister Deborah, let's have a number, please.
Number 1. How about that?
Number 1. All right, true or false? The original man is the cream of the planet Earth.
True.
That is correct. Sister
Yeah.
Sylvia, may I have a number, please? Number 2, you're muted.
Number 9.
Number
Number
9.
Which planet is this?
Woo-hoo!
Did she say? I think she said it. You said it, Sister Sylvia?
Did I say Earth?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we heard you.
All right, excellent. Sister
Okay.
Loretta, may I have a number, please?
I'll take number 3, please.
3.
True or false? Earth is the 4th planet from the sun.
That is false.
Excellent.
Number 3. Good job.
All right, Sister Deborah, may I please have a number?
Number 7.
Number 7. True or false? Master Farah Muhammad came to make us gods.
True.
Excellent. Sister Sylvia,
Number 4.
who is this?
Woo-hoo! Master Farad Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Loretta, may I have a number, please?
I will take number 8.
Number 8. Who is the original man?
The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Voila.
All right, Sister Deborah, may I have a number, please?
Number 6.
Fill in the blank. I am a
God with a little G.
Damn.
praise be to Allah, and that is Sister Belinda's grandbaby Nia,
Oh.
studying Sister Jasmine's program. Praise
Yes.
be to
Praise
Allah.
be to Allah.
All right, Sister Sylvia, may I have a number, please?
Number 2.
Fill in the blank. The original man is the blank black man.
Hmm?
The original man is the blank.
Asiatic black man.
All right, and last one for Sister Loretta.
I'll take number 5.
Fill in the blank. God of the
Universe.
praise be to Allah. And so this is an example of what we would give the children to assess what we have taught them. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Awesome.
Praise be to Allah.
All right.
All right, learning activities and their design. So the learning experience would be hands-on, and we would use project-based learning. So as you can see in some of these, we have art going on, we have handwriting, we have some sort of science activity going there. This is my group, Praise be to Allah, when we made butter here.
Mhm.
This is also my group when we made the molecules. And this is Cadence doing his mathematics. Praise be to Allah.
How would you evaluate the curriculum? Okay, so through assessments. And again, they don't all have to be written. They could be oral. They could be through some type of game. However you choose, the goal is to make sure that the student has mastered the skill. So you know the curriculum is being used correctly when your students are enthusiastic about learning. Your students are answering questions correctly. Your students have become inquisitive learners. That's that question and answer. Your students' behavior has improved. Your students are maintaining discipline. Your students are creatively thinking and declaring, be, and it is. Your students affirm themselves, stating, I am a God.
Praise be to Allah. All right, so with the Supreme Wisdom lessons, you will produce a student with a new mind. It will be a new student, a God. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the lecture, The Purpose of MUI Teacher says, relying on what the messenger gave gives us superior students and makes us superior teachers.
The ultimate purpose is to make them gods. Ye are all gods, children of the Most High God. Psalms 82:6. Thank you. Again, it was an honor to be here. And we would first like to thank Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Sister Deborah L. Muhammad, Sister Damoselle Muhammad, Sister Gabrielle Muhammad of the tech team, Sister Sylvia and Sister Loretta for being amazing classmates. Yeah, I'm getting emotional.
Thank you, thank you. We appreciate your time and attention. Assalamu alaikum.